estate agents. Welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. He is the man with the plan. How you doing today, Joey?
Take two, baby.
Take two? What?
Yes.
Oh, don't even go there. Don't even go there.
I am looking forward
we are the Real Estate Marketing Maniacs.
Guest today.
Absolutely.
He is super fun.
It is going to be fun. We got Brian North, principal with North&Co. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me.
Man, you brought some energy in here.
Never any shortage of that. Yeah. Anyone that's around me, they always wonder, is it just coffee? It's just actually not even coffee. I'm drinking tea these days. I've substituted it.
Yeah, well, I think it's all the you talked about how you travel a lot, you do all these things. I just think it's just part of your aura,
persona.
Right? It's just who you are.
It's one of those, I got one shot. I woke up this morning and I've got one more day to go and I'm going to max it out. That's how I live every day.
Absolutely. Nice. Well, we're going to jump into, but I was looking at your guys' Facebook page. I got to bring this up, man. North&Co on Facebook. It is it's awesome. Tell me about this party that you guys just had.
Yeah, December 15th was our holiday party. It was our second annual holiday party, and we accidentally ended up having theme parties. Last year we did a Mad Men theme at Phoenix Country Club, mid-century modern architecture, kind of old 1950s vibe, super, super cool. And one of our fun ambassadors, Zoe Tegas, one of our highly skilled professionals at the office, looked at me at the bar and said, "Hey, Brian, I think we should do a disco party next year." And I looked at her and I said, "It's going to be Studio 54 themed disco party." And it was affectionately called Studio North&Co this year. And you're dinking around some of our pictures right now, man. Look at that. We had 220 people come in full disco gear.
Wow.
I mean, we had a lot of fun. We had a magician. We had drag queens there dancing it up on the dance floor with us. It was unbelievable. We had so much fun.
It looks awesome. Gosh.
Yeah, it was a blast.
What a fun group.
Super fun group, man. You know, we work really hard. You know, our group is we're all full-time professionals. Everybody's had a good lengthy tenure in the business. And it's one of those things where we definitely, as a company and as a leadership group, we recognize the commitment that our agents make to us.
Yeah.
And when it comes time to socialize and blow off a little steam, we definitely aren't short of giving back.
Yeah, and you mentioned your second holiday, so 2 years now with this.
We're a baby, man.
Yeah.
We're a baby. We know that too. We're just getting started. Joey and I were talking off air about, I've got to really pay attention as an owner to how much of our growth has been trendy. You know what I mean? Just been exciting, something fresh and new to the marketplace, and really not lose sight of the fact that, as reality sets in and kind of the new wears off, what our real value add is to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And but it's really exciting, man. Just 2 years. December 2nd was our 2-year. December 2nd, 2015 was our 2-year anniversary, and it's been an amazing ride.
Yeah, they have over 150 agents.
Yeah,
full time.
In 2 years, my man. Yeah,
that's great.
And, we 3 years ago, when Stephanie and I sat down to really set out our goals, we laughed at each other writing down what our 2018 plan was going to be. It was a 3-year plan, and we had a plan to do $600 million in sales in 2018, and in 2017 we're going to do $500 million.
Wow.
So, that $600 million feels, we're like, should we move it?
Yeah, we probably need to move it up.
But at the same time, we're not going to get too excited. We got a lot of work to do. We've had a lot of growth, and we got to get our feet back on the ground and get to work.
Yeah. So how are you finding agents out there to come on board?
It's the coolest. People don't believe me when I answer with honesty. We don't recruit.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't recruit.
Yeah.
Our agents recruit for us, which is probably our biggest telling sign of what it is that we're doing at the brokerage. When people are happy and they see what the value that we're adding internally, and they go tell their other colleagues, what it is that we're up to, and they take the plunge, so to speak, to come on with us and then do more of that. We know we're on the right path. The other thing that I have to be really, really clear of is our vendor partners. Our vendor partners support us. Look at where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
You guys afford me a platform here at Security to be able to jump on the radio, jump on the podcast, and be able to broadcast our message so that people get to hear it. And our partners have been unbelievable to us in helping us grow. The coolest part is our partners know that we are a production-based company, right? We're not a headcount-based company. Yeah. And if they can refer somebody to us and increase their production, it's only a value add back to them. So we preserve those relationships of the vendor to agent relationship, even if it's not a partner, a tried and true partner of ours. Right. I have handshake deals with plenty of other title companies, lending companies who refer an agent to us. While I can't give global business to them, I'll always honor the relationship that they brought to us from agent and back to them. So our number one goal is to really help them grow their business, to help grow the referral partners business.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, Lisa Axelrod, I think, got you in here.
Got it.
She's dynamite, man. She's awesome.
Are you kidding?
She's got a lot of energy too.
No doubt. You get us two in a room might explode. Yeah, it's good.
So what are you guys doing with this growth, with this pattern, this path that you guys are on? What are you doing to grow that business? Where's the success coming from?
The success comes from a few things. The first one, without question, is teamwork. And again, a lot of this can sound a little bit cliche, but what I've realized about this industry as we started out early was it's a very individualized business. Even people that are proud of the brand that they work for are still hiding their success principles from their colleagues, right? It still is a very competitive internal nature to the way that the business operates, the industry, operates. And for us, one of our core tenets early was that you have to share. It is an open door policy at this company, and if you have only full-time professionals that are meeting a really an exceptional minimum standard, the national average of production for agent is about 4 transactions a year.
Right. Yeah.
Our agents must do 12 transactions a year, or we talk about how we can get them going on further, or we make a change. And when you have 150 people shooting for 12 transactions a year minimum, and then they're forced to share back into the culture as a team and support each other, it can only perpetuate one thing: growth. Right?
Yes.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
So that's without question, teamwork has been a massive asset, and really a group of people that are trusting enough to share that it's going to go in the best light versus that somehow they're going to lose or get something taken away from them.
Yeah.
So that's without question number one. And then number two is specialization. We believe wholeheartedly you should specialize in something. Our newer agents, younger to the business, we understand that they kind of are a eat what you kill mentality, kind of just take what you get. And we support that, but we're always trying to help them grow into kind of a funnel or a path of their business based on first what they like to do, right? We don't want anyone to do anything in the business they don't want to do. You got to love it or you're not going to want to do it.
Right.
And then the second thing is, what are you good at and where's it going to be most profitable? So between teamwork and specialization, those are probably two of our biggest
that sounds familiar, doesn't it, Jeff?
It sounds very familiar. Yeah. So really figuring out that niche for each agent.
You got it. Absolutely.
Specifically,
without question.
Yeah. I was reading something the other day, and I think that's exactly what they were talking about. Is pick out something you really love doing, and this person loved tennis, and then figure out a way to get strangers there and build those relationships. And it was a real estate agent, believe it or not, and she was able to build this massive business because she reached out to strangers coming in, she facilitated, and she had fun doing it. So
the biggest thing is she's comfortable having those conversations. Because what it does is it creates instant rapport. Right, rapport wins in sales always.
Absolutely.
And so if it's tennis is the conduit to rapport, then it's not selling. You and I are just going to sit down and talk about tennis, and then at the end we're going to go, oh yeah,
by the way,
I do real estate too. And you almost forget even as the salesperson that you're there to talk about real estate. So it's totally true.
And that's an easy slam dunk.
You got it every time.
Usually.
Awesome, man. Yeah. We were talking before we started recording here about some of the things that are hitting this industry pretty hard. Obviously the Zillows, the open doors, the offer pads, all that stuff, and about how a lot of agents are fearful of those things, right? And you mentioned that your group, what you're helping your agents understand or go through is really what's the value add on the buyer side, right? You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, for sure. I would like to touch on fear for just a second before we talk about that kind of buyer side thing.
This coming from a guy that surfs and
you got it for sure. Well, I think for not knowing who the listener exactly is right now, who's this resonating with, like, if you've been in the business 2010 or later, right, you missed the bloodbath, right, of real estate, right? And so you haven't really had to face fear, right? There isn't the looming nothing, if you've ever seen The Never Ending Story, I call it the nothing is coming,
Yeah, sure.
You haven't had to deal with that. And I got into the business in 2006, not to say I've seen it all, but whether it was from up market to slowly trending down market to short sale, REO, and then you're dealing with hedge funds and so on and so forth. I'm constantly reminding agents that it's no different than, remember at one point people traded everything in gold, and then it went to cash, and then it went to this thing called a check, and then a credit card, and now Bitcoin, right, or cryptocurrency.
We were just talking about that.
And guess what? So it's an evolution, and people are going to have to change with it. And in our industry, it's no different. Guess what? Real estate agents are still here. We're still here, and look at what has happened in the last 10, 12 years in our market. So for me, what my job as the owner of company with 150, 160 agents, principal of a company with 150, 60 agents, is I have to be paying really close attention to the things who are threatening my family, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way that I take on the ownership of that thing that's coming. And so for us, it's how do we run side by side these technological platforms, right? I mean, they're not going to ruin our industry, but they are going to change our industry. And if we're stuck in our shoes saying it's not going to change it in a major way, you're going to get smoked like the agent who said, short sales, I'm not going to do short sales.
Right.
Then 70% of all transactions were short sales or distressed real estate, and you either left holding the bag or you became a short sale expert.
Right.
And so with things like Zillow, it's changing the value perception of the real estate agent. Fundamentally, the consumer says, if you're not finding my house, I can find my house without you. What do I need you for? Well, you need me for everything else, right? And I made a joke with you offline that it's, they should find their house. I mean, I'm not the one that's going to live in their house. And with the advent and creation, growth of drone video and magic photography, we used to go out and take photos ourselves with a point and shoot camera, or then with our cell phone. And
they have
now
3D walkthrough.
You got
videos,
it. It's crazy. All the what is the I can't remember the
Matterport?
Matterport. God,
Yeah,
I don't know why I couldn't
go.
think of it. But thank you for saving me.
Yeah.
So Matterport, I mean, there's so many of these things now that I joked that, if I'm finding your house when you have access to it online, it would be you choosing me to like your photos on Instagram, right? So go look for your home. You pick the home, and then I'm going to come out and help walk you through understanding the structural, mechanical, and safety issues with the home. Then I'm going to guide you on how to make an offer. And in a traditional market, like right now, the consumer says a lot, well, if I find my house without you, I can save 3% by not using you. Yeah. And my counter to that is, if I can't save you 3% on whether it's the inspection process, the appraisal, or the negotiation, then I didn't earn my worth.
That's right.
I hope I can do better than 3%. And so really it's everything from, and talking to real estate people, they'll know where I would finish out this part of the conversation. But for us, it's really going, so now what is the most important? What can't Zillow do? And what Zillow can't do right now, what the technology platforms can't, is humanize the real estate transaction. Yeah. And as automated and speedy as we've gotten, it's really good. But the consumer is now raising their hand and saying, will you bring the human, the knee-to-knee, voice eye-to-eye element back into this transaction? We've gotten too far away from that. And so that's what we're really impressing upon our agents, so we can run side-by-side the technology.
Yeah, no, that is great. I hadn't heard anybody explain it that way before.
That's really good.
I love the idea of if I can't save you 3% anyway, then I'm not really.
I mean, really, it makes me giggle a little bit. Like, really, that's the value? You think that 3% is the value of you going to muscle yourself through this thing? I mean, unless you're two people who've been studying it for 5 years and neither of you have jobs, in a couple-based relationship, and you're going to go embark on this thing, you need a professional to help you out. And by the way, that begs a different question: is who is it that you're choosing? The vastness between professional and non-professional in our industry now is widening, right? Yeah. So, really go study how to be hyper selective about the professional you're going to hire. Don't go try and do it yourself.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. No, that's awesome. And you guys have seen a big, with your business anyway, I know you were mentioning about 65-35 split on the buyer side. So you guys are working with a lot of buyers.
A lot of buyers, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, there's a lot of components to that, right? One, I think there's a need for a really solid buyer's agent. And this is me really just always trying to think a little bit different, outside the box, somewhat cliche. But in our industry, it's been so heavily taught that they say you got to list to last. Right, you got to own the listings before, or the stock before you can get the buyers. Right. Well, that was when we relied on sign calls to get buyer leads. Right, so you had to have listings to get sign calls to get buyer leads. Right. You had to have listings to do open houses to get buyer leads. Well, I can pay Zillow as much money as I want to pay them a month to get 500 buyer leads. So I don't really need listings anymore. And so now I can go direct to the buy side. The other thing is that, on buy side deals, and here's some nugget stuff for agents out there. If you think about, on the listing side, we have to pay to market. Right, yes. So we have marketing dollars. The life cycle of a deal in our current market is probably 45 to 120 days, depending on the price point. So it's going to take me 4 months for the life cycle of that deal. Right. I've got to have some infrastructure there, a transaction manager, an assistant, a listing manager. So that comes off of my gross fee. And most likely my semi-upset seller for no reason. Right, they're going to be pissed if I sell it too quick because I left money on the table, or they're going to be pissed if it took me one day too long, I wasn't working hard enough. off is going to try and work me on my commission a little bit.
Right.
So now I'm going to get worked on commission. I've got to pay for marketing. It takes me 4 months. I have infrastructure to pay out. I got to pay tax, and there's only a little bit left over. On the buy side, right? Oh, and they're pissed half the time, by the way. On the buy side, I've got someone I'm making their dream come true. The seller pays my commission. I can go out with a showing agent, work that deal, right, by myself. I have a transaction manager to help me with the paperwork.
Yeah.
And depending on, how speedy the market is and how much emotion there is in the marketplace, the life cycle of that transaction process might be
fast.
30 to 60 days versus 30 to 120. So as long as we can figure out a way to design and scale that buyer business, I think it's a better ROI portion of the business from a business perspective. And I also think there's a heavy need because my competition is leveraging buyers agents, which typically are your newer agent, your employee-based agent, to service that buyer client, where if you can bring a real solid professional into that, we're delivering at a higher level in a different way against our competition.
Oh, I love that. No, that sounds
I've
great,
never
man.
heard it put that way.
Yeah.
We're going to have to play this one back after I'm done.
Yeah, because it is true. When you take buyers
Yeah, it
out,
is.
they are happy.
They are. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're a pro and you're working. I mean, they don't understand the value until they get in the car with you, right? And if it's somebody that's just opening the door, and there's the kitchen, and there's the living room, like that's what I think most buyers have been used to in our industry.
Right.
And when you have somebody that's been in 3, 5, 10,000 houses, full-time professional people that are showing houses going, did you see the brown stain on the ceiling from what is most likely either a current or past roof leak? Or, did you notice this add-on over here because they didn't fill the window into what used to be a carport? Or things that just, unless you've been in a lot of houses, you don't understand. It really, and then your buyers go in happy, and guess who they refer you? Everybody. They refer you listings too. You know what I mean? So it really has been a place. This is a very now thing too. I mean, right now I know a lot of the mega stars that have been on your show are listening to me going, no way.
Yeah.
It's listings
It's
all
all
day
about
long.
listings.
You list. And I'm going, hey, this is that me looking at technology and going, do I need to be scared and quake in my boots? Nah, I just got to shift with it. I'll go pay for some digital leads and go deliver at a higher level than most of my competition. And that's going to create, I call it a buffer of longevity. It's going to give me 3 years until I got to figure out the real problem. I'm not sure what that kind of Uber disruption is yet. It's coming, but this is going to give me just a little bit more longevity and give us time to figure it out.
Yeah, I like it. So I love the example that you gave as far as getting listings. It used to be that you had to rely on the sign calls to get the buyers, right? And with your group, with your focus on every agent kind of having a specialty, right, or a special niche, you can essentially take, and I love Seth Godin, I love his books, and you can essentially say each one of your agents is out there starting to build a tribe, right, around them.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Without question.
If you build that tribe, there's your buyers.
You got it.
Well,
absolutely.
and listings, actually.
It really is both ways,
Yeah.
right? It's just finding niches right now to be able to service at a really high level.
Yeah.
And I think that humanization component, you guys are going to hear it. People are going to start talking about it at a really high level. We've gotten too far away from it. And especially in Arizona, kudos to Arizona agents. I've been traveling around now, doing some speaking. I've been fortunate enough to do some speaking to some successful agents. I'm leading mastermind sessions in the Western U.S. I think I did 9 of them last year. And I'm getting in front of these other agents that are operating at a really high level, and there's so much dialogue. So first of all, where I was going is Arizona is probably one of the grittiest, grindiest, most competitive markets in the nation.
Yep.
We operate at an exceptionally high level here.
Right.
And what I'll share with you is we are so good at competing for units, right? Metrics, numbers, GCI, gross commission income, that all of that vocabulary has gotten us away from what really is really important, which is our consumer, right? Our customers, our clients, our friends, our network, our sphere, all of those things that we used to talk about in the business a lot.
Yeah.
And I think if there's not a heavy shift back in that direction, it's still just a tick mark. Got another unit.
Yeah.
Those agents are going to be in a lot of trouble soon.
Yeah. No, I love this.
Yep.
This is a great interview so far. This is absolutely awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Glad I can add a little juice.
Yeah, for sure, man.
A lot of juice.
Hey, so what's the next, if you can share, what's the next phase for North&Co? I mean, what do you guys have planned now?
It's really interesting, man. Right now, it's going deep. That's what we talk about in the boardroom, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, we grew fast this year, faster than I think definitely faster than we anticipated, right? Predominantly in what I would call head count or agent count. We definitely knew we were going to produce, but we grew faster on the agent side than we thought. So we have dramatically slowed our growth pattern on the agent side, and we are hyper selective about the new agents that will come on board. And we have an intense energy focus, both economically and from our time to serve the existing agent. You know, to think that with just 155, 156 agents that we're going to do a $500 million in sales this year, we're in pretty rare air, and we know it. And if there's one place that we know that we can just continue to accelerate that, but most important, preserve our longevity, it's going to be to really nurture those agents that we currently have and help them kind of scale their individual businesses. Still, the bulk of our agents are indie agents, meaning a singular agent with maybe a transaction manager or something to that effect, which is just mind-blowing that we've grown at the pace that we have with no mega teams, so to speak. And really now it's really going deep into each of those individual agents throughout the year. We want to grow at about 50% of the same growth we did last year, right, from an agent count perspective. And we anticipate by going deep and directing our capital in the right way to market and provide tools and support for our agents that we're going to increase our production by another 30%. So it's really about just going really deep with the agents that we currently have.
Yeah. Well, I can see the appreciation they're going to have for that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have thick skin, man. You don't know if they're going to recognize it or not. You know what I mean? But you can't really sleep on that. You know, all I got to do is just bring my best every day. And, you know, if they do, they do. And, you know, if not, that next young superstar is going to hear this podcast and come knocking on the door, hopefully, and hopefully they'll appreciate it. You know, but I'm going to do my best. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Well, if somebody is listening or watching today and they do want to reach out to you guys directly, how would they do that?
Yeah, you know, real easy. Our website has all of our contact information. It's real easy. It's North&Co, so all spelled out, no ampersands allowed. So NORTHANDCO.com, and we've got a careers page on there. Okay. So that's probably the simplest way. And then our number 602-714-7000. Really easy to reach us, and it's a very personal one-on-one experience when we sit down with agents who want to come on board. So you know, we pride ourselves on kind of that on board because it's such a personal group. You know, 150, 60 agents. You know, we know everyone's name. That's really important to us. We know what everyone's up to. As much as they want to share personally, we're involved. So we'd love to meet anybody that's watching that want to come check us out.
Definitely. That is awesome. Hey, before we move to the next segment here, I want to ask you, just because you mentioned before we started that you love like thrill-seeking type stuff, right? You have any big trips coming up?
I do actually. I've got a couple coming up. I do love. You know, I don't know how much thrill. It'd probably be thrill to the rest of the world. You know, when I was younger, I was crazy, man. I mean, I competed in half pipe and slope style snowboarding, and you know, to get the tag charger, you know, when you surfed or skated or snowboarded was a big thing. I'm 40 years old. I've had 2 ACL surgeries and pretty major shoulder surgeries, so I'm not charging as hard as I used to now. But yeah, I've got a short trip to Cabo planned. I got a buddy that's camping in an RV down there, surfing at a world-class point break. So I'm going to sneak in on him for 3 or 4 days for a long weekend around the second week of January. And then January 24th, I got a couple of my industry buddies. We're going to go to Whistler for the first time and go snowboarding up in Canada. Wow. So there's a couple trips on the books to start the year off. So it should be great, man.
That is
Appreciate
cool.
you asking. That's the fun stuff. That's what we work for.
Totally. I have a button for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's so perfect. That's exactly what it is.
That's so funny. All right, well, you ready to get in the ring with the Maniacs? You good?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. All right, here we go. So what's the best advice that anyone's ever given you?
You're growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's Tony Robbins. I wish he gave it to me personally, but that's it. Number one. And I have an insatiable drive to grow.
All right. How about a favorite mobile app?
Favorite mobile app right now is an app called Productive. It's a really simple app that basically you can outline. It creates new disciplines. Mm-hmm. So I have everything from stretch 20 minutes to read my goals to spend 30 minutes twice weekly with each of my boys to drink water, literally. And it gives me prompted push notifications throughout the day to remind me to do the things during the time of day that I want to do them. Wow. And so it's creating new disciplines for me. So
you just go through and...
So yeah,
set them up.
Literally, all you do is you swipe up to set up a new discipline, and it'll say drink water, and then I'll go every day, and then I'll do middle of day, and then I add a little icon to it, and push go. That one's set. And every day in the middle of the day, I'm going to get a push notification that says you have 3 disciplines left for this segment of the day.
Wow.
And you go. So it's everything from go to bed at 10:30 at night, and I wake up at 5 in the morning. And I mean, so everything really is just to make sure that I get those things in my day that I must do to have a productive day, productive week, productive life.
I was going to say, you do seem like the type of guy that would be up at 5 o'clock, ready to go.
That's
right?
it. You got it.
Absolutely. How about a book recommendation?
Book recommendation. I am almost through. It's been the longest read ever, and it's not a long book. It's just been one of those that I've gone back and read and gone back and read. It's called Small Giants, and the subtitle is Companies That Have Decided to Be Great Instead of Big. And it's a case study of 14 companies, Anchor Steam Brewing probably being one of the most well-known that we would all know, that obviously was offered opportunities to be bought out by the big major brewing companies, and stayed focused on their culture, their people, and just remaining a great company and not getting caught up in being big.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm going to have to get that one.
Yeah,
I wonder if it's on Audible.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we got to check it out.
All right, cool. How about a productivity tool or software that you use on a regular basis?
Well, that I'm going to go back to Productive, right? That
sure.
app. I mean, straight up, that's the one. That's the one that I've been using right now, and I'm in love with it. And it's relatively new. I've been at it for about 3 weeks, so I'm just going to go back to that one because it's had a really profound effect on me.
All right. And one final one, we'll have you draw from the mask here.
Yep. All right, here we go.
This is beautiful.
What do we got? All right. Let's see. If you could, this is perfect. If I could travel anywhere in the world, where would I go and why? So this is pretty cool, actually. A lot of my productivity, which is I have 1 cigar a week instead of 1 a night, and I have what refers to as a sober day, which is just no drinking. And my exercise regimen is because I have a goal of getting barreled this year. So getting in the tube on a surfboard, okay, if you know what I'm talking about, and getting spit out. So if you see like the bonsai pipeline and things like this, right? So that's a goal for me. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to surf bigger waves, bigger, hollower waves. So I'm going to say I've been looking at a place in Nicaragua called Playa Colorados that I'd love to go to. It's a big barreling right-hand point break, and right now I'd probably want to go there. There you go. Yeah.
So all this Point Break talk.
All the Point Break talk.
Keanu Reeves is like showing up.
Johnny Utah. Johnny Utah.
Right, Johnny
I'm
Utah.
an FBI
the
agent.
new one just wasn't as good as the old one.
Never.
Sure.
It's the first one's so iconic. It's what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
They try. They try. I mean, I don't even know. Growing up in the original Star Wars era, I don't even know if I could say the new Star Wars are as good as the old ones.
They're not as good.
Hopefully, I didn't offend anyone out there.
They're not as good.
So.
Well, we waited to the end to offend anybody. So
That's usually not my style. So I'm glad we made it that far.
Man, thanks so much for being in.
Yeah,
this is
my
awesome,
pleasure.
bro.
My pleasure, man. Really
I even
stoked you
said
guys
bro
are here.
just now. Can you believe
That's
that?
I love it.
What's up with that?
I'll bring that out in you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we end up being real. It's good. I like
This
it.
is great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, until next time, this is Jeff Underwood, and
Joey Sampaga.
we really hope you enjoyed this show and got some
sure they have.
great things that you can implement in your own business too. So until next time, you guys take care. We'll see ya.
You.